Hello everyone, this is Otaku Showboat, and welcome to the first video in a, ideally, brand new series coming to the channel where we're going to take a look at broken hardware and fix it up and or improve it wherever we can, whenever we can. If we can't fix it, oh well. We'll use it as parts going forward. Today, we're going to be taking a look at this purple Gameboy Color. Now, as this is the first video in a series, it is extremely important that you leave your feedback down below. Leave likes or dislikes, leave comments, subscribe if you're new here and you want to see more of these troubleshooting videos. And of course, leave your criticisms down below. I am, in fact, quite new to this. This is the first time I will have taken apart a Game Boy Color, and the first time I've troubleshooted a Game Boy Color. It is the first time I've done micro soldering, although we're not going to see the micro soldering in this video. That I just don't really have the capacity to record that right now. Even with, like, being able to record the desk in front of me, there's too much stuff in the way for the precision work that I was doing. But leave comments anyway about what you think is wrong with this, how I could go about fixing it, is it a lost cause, etc., etc. Make your comments before I reveal the answer, because this is a journey that's going to last over an hour. I hope you enjoy. Let's get to it. Why, hello everyone. This is Otaku Showboat. Today, we are in fact going to be taking a look at a broken Game Boy Color to try to figure out what exactly is the root cause of all of these things. This particular Game Boy Color I paid a specific amount for that I have forgotten because I have not prepared. I have paid for this particular Game Boy Color $45.58 plus the cost of shipping. This particular broken Game Boy Color is missing the back door. It has no inputs, no reading of the inputs when you push the buttons. It has some corrosion around the batteries, contacts, some corrosion around the contacts. It also has a very faint screen, and it has inverted black and white colors on the screen, as you can see me in the reflection of this Game Boy Color. So, let's start just by showing, or attempting to show, what exactly happens when we try to power this thing on. I just have some rechargeable AA batteries here, and I'm going to need a game. This time I'm going to go with my custom game cases version. Case for a legitimate copy of Pokemon Yellow, the Japanese version. At least, I hope it's legitimate. Anyway, stick that in there, and make sure we have some volume on. Turn it on, and it goes black. Now, you probably won't get this very well on the camera, but you can sort of make out that there is sound. So there is sound. The sound is good, but, and the game is playing, but it is it's all inverted. It's all inverted, black and white. See, somewhat flashing there. This is the Pikachu Edition, so we've got Pikachu. I think we can just barely get it right in there. There we go. That is the Pikachu, what the Pikachu looks like on this while it's powered on. None of the buttons do anything. So, and then of course it goes completely bright as soon as we turn it off. It goes bright. All the blacks pop. All the blacks pop out. So, let's break it open and let's see what we're working with here. Let us see exactly what we're working with here. I'm going to put these right up there on my brand new work surface. So we've got here, this is a tri-wing screwdriver, and we have tri-wing screws, 4, 5, 6 of them by my count. I haven't actually ever opened up a Game Boy Color before. This is new to me, opening up a Game Boy Color. Now, am I actually getting the right hole? Probably not. That's a little bit better. Get out. That's a long. That's a long. Down in here. What do we got here? Looks like that's the same length as the other 3. And then that's the same length. Now something tells me that these two right down here, that those are going to be a little shorter. So let me see about getting these two out. I'm noticing the one on the left there has a little bit of corrosion on it, but we'll have a good look at it. Come on. Magnetize. Come on. You know you can do it. You're out. You are out. Come on. There we go. Now, is this the same as one of these? Is this the same? It actually looks like it. They are the same. So, that's good to know that those are the same. I'll keep these separate-ish just so that I know what went where. Come on, get purchased. There we go. Ah, this one's a little bit tighter. This one's a little bit tighter. Ah, yeah, that one had some corrosion from a battery leak on its top. There, if the camera decides that it, if my phone decides that it wants to do the thing there, yeah, that is that. So now we can open up, and there's the board. So, what do we have here? Is there anything visibly wrong? I'm just going to have a good look around besides the damage that on these to see what could be wrong. There's some brown here, but that might just be some flux and not a problem at all. So I'm just going to have a good look around, see if there's anything obvious, and then we'll get the screws out of the motherboard and see about the other side, because something tells me that this might have been taken apart at some point and put back together wrong, and that's why we're seeing a lot of these issues with it. That's my working theory, anyways, that this particular Game Boy Color was taken apart and not put back together correctly. So I'm going to pause and come back when I've had a good look at this motherboard here, because I can't really see closely with my current setup. Okay, so outside of getting this button out, the switch on the side for the power, I don't see anything that looks burnt on here or anything that could indicate a problem on this side of the board. So now we have Phillips head screws for all the rest of these. Yeah, there's the green stuff in there that I will have to get out with some alcohol. Now the question is, what size is this? That fits, but is this a better fit? That's a better fit. Now this one is a pH 0, whereas this other one was a 00, I think. So Phillips head screws here. We'll have to have these separated out and make sure that we check the lengths on all of them. So that's one off to the side, right over there. We've got a number 2, came right out. There's a potentiometer right there that we don't want to touch. And that is screw number 3. They all look good. Any other screws? Or will it just pull right on out? I think now it'll pull right on out. But first, I want to make sure that I get this ribbon cable unlatched. And we have a good look at this ribbon cable. Have a good look at that ribbon cable for me and tell me if you see anything wrong on that ribbon cable. By my estimation, I don't really see anything wrong with that ribbon cable. So that tells me that I don't think that there's a problem with this screen right now. Now, this side of the board. This side of the board. Okay. I see gunk on the face buttons. I see corrosion. I see corrosion. So, now, my thought is, well, it's either corrosion or it's dirt. My thought is potentially that this thing got put in water. And something tells me that that right there is not quite supposed to look like that. So I need to clean this. And that could be what's gone on with this board. That could be the root cause. Now, I know we have power onto the board, so it's not this guy. This guy is power delivery / regulation, whatever, and it's a proprietary chip. This thing's not bad, so I know that we're good there. I do need to clean up these buttons, the contacts on these buttons, because obviously, essentially none of them are working right now. And looking at these pads for these buttons, you can see they've got the green gunk on them. Now, I'm not going to record the cleaning of these things, but we'll come back once they're cleaned and see what happens. If I don't have to remove the screen from this, which, you know, that is a mission in and of itself because it's sort of stuck in there with adhesive. It's really hard to get that screen out. We'll see how we are doing once these buttons get cleaned. Oh, that's interesting. So it's all just start and select is all just one piece, and they aren't actually individual buttons. They just, yeah. Anyway, I have some cleaning to do. I guess I will show. I'll do the pads separate. Just keep that there, so I know how to keep track. I'll pull out, as I, of course, hit the camera. I'll pull out some isopropyl alcohol, 91%. Good old 91% isopropyl. And Q-tips. I've got regular Q-tips. Lots of Q-tips. Unscrew that. Get this Q-tip nice and wet. And I'm just gonna start trying to clean up this board. specific attention to these button pads. You can see we've already gotten green. So my hope is that the gold contacts on these pads are still present underneath this corrosion, and that we don't have to worry about not having a button for the end of time, till the end of time on here. Yeah, see all that mess? Now, I may be ruining this board, but you know what? The buttons weren't working previously. If my doing this makes it so that they can't work again, well, that's not a problem, right? Because they already weren't working ahead of time. There's nothing that we can do that will make this worse outside of, somehow cracking the screen, which, oh yeah, buttons, they like to fall out. They fall out of these things. There we go. The buttons are keyed, by the way, so if they do come out, you don't have to worry about the direction of the button on the other side that you can't see, because they are keyed for their exact orientation and the exact button. Is that okay? Now we've still got a little bit. Still got a bit on the edges there. I need to get this close to me so I can get a better sight. Now, the goal isn't to get everything out. The goal is to get enough out that it works again. Oh boy, that B button. That B button, though. And sort of on the A button. Have a look at that B button. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, those buttons are not doing great. They're not in the best of shape. More IPA. More IPA. Hello, my cat. Hello, Ollie. I don't want to scrape this right now for fear that we're going to start losing the actual gold contacts, so I'm going to have to try to leave it there, I guess. Now, this thing may be what was responsible for those colors being inverted. Best I can do with you. This is a capacitor, it looks like, on the other side, so it's the battery terminal. That's what you are. So this and this here, these two spots are the battery terminals. That is just an eh. I'm thinking that the battery corroded and then bled onto this side. That the battery's corroded and it went through somehow. Now, looking, that could do with more detailing. But I don't know if that's also going to fix the problem with the screen. Only one way to find out. Hi, we're back. I have cleaned. as much as I can of these terminals. I could do more, but it's going to take a really long time. And for the purposes of this video, I am going to put it back together just to see if we can get any buttons working again. And then I get to have a look, find out if this chip down here is actually working. This chip I thought was working, but I'll have to test. I'll have to test all the things. Oh. I'm looking at that CPU there. I think that's just a little bit of flux. I saw shiny where I shouldn't see shiny. No, those contacts look fine. Those contacts are fine. Weird. Very, very weird. As I grab the face, turn it upside down, and the buttons come out, of course. Now, I'm wondering... because I've seen... So I have seen in places that the screen has a device, I forget what it's called. It's just a sheet that goes over the top that could have the effect of making the blacks white and the whites black, but I don't think that's the problem. I think the screen just may be bad, and I will replace it anyway. So if the screen doesn't improve based off of this cleaning that I just did, I'll just call the screen scrapped. Add a little bit of Q-tip there. And yeah, so I'm going to put this back together, and I will see you shortly. Alright, so I have put the Game Boy Color back together without any screws put in. So it's just to test. I'm going to get batteries in. I have cleaned the battery contacts as best I can for now. I have everything here. Let's get the game put back in, and then turn it on and see what happens. Of course. Now there's no power. Okay. It's on. Technically. There, you can sort of see the thing, but we now have the A button. We don't have the face buttons. We don't have the face buttons. And we just lost the power. Wonderful. I have A. Okay, I know I have A, which means that I'm on the right track with cleaning up these contacts. Great. How do I... because I don't have it, like, fully, like, sealed right now. You know what? That might be part of the problem. Hold on. Let me get these batteries out. Let me actually assemble it, and I will get all the screws back in. As much as I will hate having to take all the screws out again, let's get all the screws back in and see how it changes. Okay, moment of truth. All of the screws are back in. Let us see. Will we get buttons working? We don't even get the power anymore. Wonderful. I have managed to break it more. Yay. Oh, there. There we go. We got power. And do we have logo? No, it's because there's no game in there, of course. I needed to put a game in. There, we're on. We are on. It is reading the game. I can just barely see it. It's there. It is there. Trust me. Okay, A button works. Yes, A button works. Does B button work? No. B button does not work. Up and down does not work. I'm unable to test start and select from this screen, so we will load into the game to see if any of the face buttons work. That none of the face buttons are working. This could just mean that I put in the pad wrong. It could just mean that I put the pad in wrong. Because it, unfortunately with the D-pad, it's got two potential orientations on it, but it could also mean that we're just not getting good contact. Now, if I take this apart and, like, put the pad onto the buttons and finagle it to get it on, and finagle it to get it on, yes, finagle it so that the power comes on and that the screen is displaying stuff. If I manage to do that, are we even getting start? No. We are not getting start. We got A. We were successful in getting one button in that particular clean. Excellent. And that's going to be that on this particular video. This is going to take a while, I'm sure. This is going to definitely be a thing. I am now going to go off screen, and I'm going to take this thing apart again, and I'm going to give it a good proper look away from the camera, clean as much as I can, and if I get it working, then huzzah. If I don't, then bummer. Oh well. For now though, I think either way the screen might be gone, but yeah, we need to get those buttons working, and I would really like to get the buttons working at the very least so that I can replace the screen. As it stands, if I can't get those buttons working, well, then this board is pretty much screwed at that point. I don't know about potentially somehow getting those pads to work again, because it's the actual pads on the board that are the problem right now, and if they don't work, I'd have to look up to see if they can get to be made to work somehow. If so, I have to do that, and hopefully that will work, but for now, this is where I'm going to break away, and I'll let you know at some point, either in this video or later on, about the status of this particular Game Boy Color. Okay, so a quick-ish update as part of this video. It is the next morning. I've spent the evening last night, the whole evening last night before going to bed, having a look at this board and trying to figure out what the problems were with regards to the buttons in particular and what was going on with the buttons. You can see I've got a wire here now. I'm probably going to need a lot more wires, just so we're clear. We're probably gonna need quite a few more wires. Quite a few more wires. Why? Well, it comes down to how these buttons are getting their connections to the CPU. So, the A button here, we have 4 pads. Now I've cleaned this further since my ending of recording yesterday. So we've got more visible gold now on the A button. The A button is fine. It is working perfectly. You have 2 contacts that connect to ground and 2 contacts that connect to this P10, the live contacts. They connect to this P10, and these little P points, these are test pads. They ensure that you've actually got a continuity there, and that your buttons are functional, as we've got a kitty intruding. Hi, Ollie. Hi, big boy. Hello, my Ollie. Could you get back and away? Get back and away. Don't knock down the soldering iron, please. So the pads have continuity to P10. P10 has continuity to the CPU chip, all the way at like one of these pins down here. There's actually a few diagram resources that show exactly where the thing's supposed to go, and in fact, there's a via up here, right down here, that connects up to this batch of 4 right there. So that batch of 4 vias and this batch of 3 plus this 5th one down here, these are the A button, the B button, the start button, and the select button. And I believe it's from right to left in that order. So the one on the far right is A, then B, then start, and then select, going up to this batch of 4 here. This other batch of 4 that's right next to it, that's the up, down, left, right. Now, with the B button has continuity to ground on the 2 pads that are supposed to be grounds. The active pins have continuity to the test pad, but the test pad does not have continuity to the via right here, the B button via. So I have this wire here to jump that B button via, and it will function. It will function when I have the wire jumped there. I have to actually perhaps use a little bit thicker of wire because these holes are a bit larger than 30 gauge. They're a bit larger than 30 gauge, and I don't really have any experience shoving wires into a hole and soldering that hole without forming a bridge to the neighboring via, because these vias, they're very close to each other, but we need this wire in this hole, and it needs to be connected to the hole. Or I could run it all the way up to the top. And just get rid of this connection in its entirety, but this is a good connection. I may as well keep this line short. When we get to start and select, though, we end up having more issues. So with the start and select buttons, this is a time where not all of the grounds are connected to ground. Not all the grounds are connected to ground, unfortunately. So there are specific pads in here. There are pads that are supposed to be ground pads, and they're all supposed to be connected to each other. So there's 4 ground pads on each of these. All 4 are supposed to connect to each other. Now, the select one, I think, is missing 1, where start, they're all disconnected. They're pretty much all disconnected from each other. Now, as I recenter myself here, now the problems arise here because, as I bring up my notes, there is discontinuity between the ground pads, but there's also a bit of an issue with the vias. So the start test pad is P13. That one connects up here. The problem is that P13 is also connecting to the select via way up here. So this far right via right there, and this via right here have continuity between each other, which means that both these 2 left holes right here, these holes right here, these vias, those have continuity. So somewhere there is a short between start and select. There is a short between start and select somewhere. Where? I can't tell. It might be through one of these little, what I'm assuming to be ground plane holes. It may be that there's corrosion in enough ground plane holes that there's problems. Yeah, that's like the biggest issue between start and select right now that I need to figure out because I need to, you know, not have those two be shorted. And also, P12 is not connected to the via that it's supposed to be connected. So P12 has a discontinuity with its via. So while P13 has a short between the start and select via, P12 isn't connected to a via, so that's broken. Up, down, left, right. It gets worse. Up, down, left, right, it gets worse. So with up, down, left, right, none of the grounds are connected to ground on any of the 4 buttons. None of the grounds are connected to ground. None of the grounds are connected to each other either, which is very telling. None of the ground pads are connected to each other, which, if they're grounds, they should realistically be. Realistically, all the ground should run to the same plane, so everything that is on ground should have continuity to each other, right? Logically, like this pin right here, pin 32. Pin 32 is a ground pin. You can see right there, and we can test this ground. The ground, that's where I was testing the ground on this side of the board, because really all the like ground plane, all the ground plane points are on the other side of the board. So pin 32 is where I was testing, and none of these have continuity to pin 32. All right, so there's like 4 wires to connect to ground. Okay, great. The other problem is that, yeah, they are all disconnected from the CPU. All of the active lines are disconnected from the CPU on here. So even if the button, even if you were to push the button, which connects active to ground and closes the circuit and sets it so that the button should be recognized, none of them actually connect to the CPU either. Yeah. Also, one more note on the select button here. Select actually goes all the way up to this set of 5 vias. It's this bottommost via, and I will show you a scope of this, but it is corroded. It is corroded, but there is continuity between that via and this via here. So all 4 of these vias, or all 5 of these vias, excuse me, is this 5 row. So these 5 go here and then go up to here and then go to the CPU, as far as I can tell. So select, I know where these are going. Start, I don't know where start goes, or A and B. I don't know where start, A and B go to get to this set of 3 vias here. Like where are we getting to these 3? What is the route that these 3 buttons take, that the active lines on these 3 buttons take to get to these 3 vias? That's what I still need to find out. And I also need to get these active lines hooked up and ground lines hooked up, and I need to connect all of the ground lines that need to be connected down here to each other and to ground. Although technically they've both got pads, like the start pads are connected to ground. The first pad in the line is connected to ground. It's just a matter of connecting the other lines, the other pads to ground, so that they're all connected, and then making sure that all of the live lines are connected to the live line, and finding the short with pad 13. So to summarize, B button needs continuity to the CPU. It's missing continuity to the CPU. Start and select have a short on the continuity to the CPU from pad 13 for start. The ground plane is not connected on all the pads. Left, right, up, down. Oh yeah, and select is missing its continuity to one of the vias to the CPU as well. Up, down, left, right. None of the ground planes are connected, and none of the active lines reach the CPU either. And that's just the buttons. As far as the display goes, I haven't even looked at what could be causing the issues with the display. I managed to get to disconnect the display from the front. It's actually pretty simple. You just twist the thing, and it will disconnect. So you twist on the front of the case, and it will pop the LCD out. There is nothing visibly wrong with this LCD. Nothing is visibly wrong with the LCD. The polarizer looks like it's factory, it's OEM, as far as I can tell. So I know it's not that. So again, it's something on this board, most likely, that is leading to that issue with the display. So I'll also need to look at find what's driving the display in here to figure out what could be wrong or shorted or not connected with the display aspect of this board. So that's the quick update, quote unquote, on this particular thing. It's been a long enough video. It might end up being its own separate video, but yeah, this has been Otaku Showboat, and I will see you for another update, most likely once I've figured out the buttons. I will say that when I did connect this wire, I ended up getting a new symptom where the game was glitching out. The game started glitching out, which, was part of the description of the item. When I bought this Game Boy Color, it said that games would glitch out. I didn't experience it at first, but after fixing the B button, then I experienced it. So it's like, okay, what else is going on with this? What else is going on with this? Because I don't think it's a bad CPU. I may have to remove the cartridge reader. I may need to see what's under this cartridge reader, because there could be corrosion damage to traces underneath this card reader, and I need to get there, which unfortunately means desoldering this entire row and then eventually resoldering this entire row. That will be fun. That will be fun. I'll see you on the next update. Okay, this is going to be the final segment of this particular video. I know it's been, like, at this point in the editing, 40 plus minutes of working on this Game Boy Color, but this is the conclusion. So, at this point, if you haven't already, take your guesses. Was I able to fix it? Leave a comment. Was I able to fix it? Then edit it later once you found out the answer. Was I able to fix it? How much was I able to fix? Answer that too. If I wasn't able to fix it completely, what was I able to fix? I'll give you a second. Okay. Here's the answer to what I was able to fix. This is, of course, now day 3 with this device. Of course, I'm not going to be doing anything else with it because there are things that I cannot fix right now. Yeah, there's some things that I can't do right now and in this very moment. I might be able to do a few things later on, just not right now. So, first things first. It will not power on anymore, even if I tried to put batteries in, because I broke it. I broke the contact. I tried to solder it back on, but I couldn't get it to stick. Yeah, so that's a thing that happened. Among all of my work on the front side of the board, doing lots of continuity testing with my multimeter, which I'm realizing that I haven't actually shown my multimeter at any point in this video yet, so we'll do some testing with the multimeter in this segment, just so that we can, of course, have a look-see. Just so that we can have a look-see with our multimeter at some of the things that have gone on, and it's quite convenient. This is a very small sized multimeter. It runs off of standard batteries rather than 9-volt, and it's got a little kickstand. It's convenient. So let's get into this thing so we can have a look at what we need to do, or what I have done on here. So what have I done besides break that battery terminal at this point? So in the end, I was successful a little bit on the buttons. I did see some success with the buttons. I didn't see complete success. There is still more that needs to be done on the buttons, but I will say that it's at a point where I don't see myself being able or being comfortable with reselling this particular motherboard, even if I was able to fix all of its problems, just because some of these fixes are fragile, to say the least, and quite temporary by their nature. It won't stay fixed for a particularly long period of time. Come on, get out. Get out. I know you're out. You. I know you're out. Come on. Come on, you. I know you're not connected. Come on. Get. It doesn't want to get. Oh, well. 2 more. Come on. This is that one with that corrosion that's on the head. So yeah, at some point, corrosion got down through this screw hole, most likely. Oh, now it's inside the thing. Let's get this out. As I said, it was already broken. I said this at the beginning of the video. It's already broken. There's nothing really that we can do to break it, because it's already broken. We can just break it in different ways. Break it in repairable ways, granted. This here, breaking this is not the end of the world. All I need is another one of these. And to desolder the point and to resolder the point, etc. I just would need to get that part, which, you know, that will take several days to arrive if I decide that I want to actually purchase a bespoke part for it. Otherwise, I can just wait until I get another Game Boy Color and harvest the part off of the other Game Boy Color. Now, how would I do that? Well, I would do that in the process of upgrading that Game Boy Color to not use AA batteries, but to use a rechargeable battery. As an example, in which during that process, I would in fact desolder both of these battery contacts from the motherboard, and then the contacts for the battery, through really big wires, will get attached to these 2 points, and then put into a bracket with a USB-C charge thing, comes out the side. You can just USB-C charge, and that would be that. But I would only do that on a board that would be worth reselling, of which this one is definitely not. So we'll just disconnect the screen. As for the screen, I'm thinking that at some point someone was in here and mucked about with the potentiometer. I think that the issues with the screen, at least the brightness, the faintness on it, may have been to do with this potentiometer right here, but I'm not exactly sure because I can't really test it anymore. Because I can't really test it anymore. But issues with the game glitching, oh, I made a boo-boo. I didn't even see that one. I did not do that. At least I didn't think I did that. Apparently I did that. Oh, I need to, yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. See, I didn't even notice that I did that. That is a result, I think, of some of the work that I was doing down here, and the piece broke off. A piece of wire broke and ended up there, and somehow got a drop of solder. I don't know how that happened. What? That's so weird. That was, of course, not intentional, but I'm thinking now I know why the thing wouldn't turn on when I resoldered the... When I did manage to get this joint resoldered, or this contact on here, when I did manage to get that on there, I put the batteries in, it wouldn't turn on. Well, you know, that would explain why. That would explain why. I wonder if I ended up frying the whole CPU in the process. Oh well. It was hard. Just keep telling ourselves that it was already broken and move on with our lives. Anyway, let's see the other side of the board. Let's see the other side of the board, because yeah, that's disturbing me. I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm like really tempted to just stop the video and fix it now. Oh boy, yeah, that's not nice. That's definitely not nice. Fortunately, I do have the means to fix it. I had the means to break it, I have the means to fix it. So here's what I've done on the other side of the board. Yeah, if the thing would focus, there we go. Hi. Yeah, come on, focus, there you go. It also lost audio at some point. I don't know what happened with the audio, but it stopped working somewhere. Yeah. So a few wires have been run. As it turns out, I believe that these buttons actually do have live connected to the CPU. Or at the very least, these buttons have the live connected up to the holes here, the vias up here. So the up, down, left, right lives, those are fine. It was the grounds that were the problem. And yeah, just a little bit of solder. I chipped away at the solder mask on the board, the whiteness of the board. I just chipped away to reveal the ground plane and just solder bridged the ground to the ground on each of these. So all these should have connection to ground. They do have connection to ground. In fact, we can test. We can test. I have my multimeter here. We can test. We can test. I have this. Continuity mode. There we go. And just to see. So continuity mode will beep. It will beep when there's continuity. Got it? All right. So between the up ground and ground, this is pin 32 on the card reader, which, yes, if you can probably tell, you might be able to tell on here, but I removed this card reader. I removed it, and then I reinstalled it later because I needed to get a better idea of which vias were problematic on these connections. And I wanted to see the other side, that what was behind the card on the other side of the board. And yeah, there was some stuff back there that I was glad I was able to see. Of course, now we can see that, hey, that's grounded. Ahem. Ahem. Well, I guess that one didn't actually get grounded. Whoopsies. Did it get into a internal ground plane? Oh, I guess I didn't actually succeed on that one. Did I succeed on this one? Yes. And this one? Yes. So I didn't actually succeed on right. So right, I need to like redo as well at some point. As I said, I'm not really going to sell this at this point. It's just going to be for parts of the parts that are working, because these pads are just it's a mess. You can see it's a mess. And down here, start select. Oh boy, you can see start select there. Yeah, it's a mess, and it's not even done yet. If you can believe it, this mess down here, you can see all that mess on start. Yeah, that's not even done yet. I've actually got 2 wires there on start, and it's not finished. So with select, there was one ground pad that wasn't connected from the others, and that was this one right here. So I just bridged the 2 ground pads. All of the live pads were working with start and are working with start, and they were getting into this via here from P12, the test pad. This was fine, but it didn't actually make it to this via up here. Now, it actually is supposed to go through this via right here, so it goes basically from here in this via up to this via, and then from here up to here, and from here over to this, where this red wire is, but right up here, this particular via right here, and that's supposed to go up to this bottom via, and from there to the CPU side on this bottom focus. Yes, focus. I said focus. There you go. To this, I think bottom or top via, one of those two, and then into one of the bottom pins on the CPU. Come on, focus. There you go. Into one of those bottom left pins on the CPU. Unfortunately, when I did this, of course, because start was and is shorted somewhere, I was not able to identify where start is being shorted to select. It means that now both of these are shorted to each other, which is, just fantastic. As for start, I got the live lines connected to each other. That's what this little jumper, uninsulated little jumper wire is for down there. That connects all of the live pads to each other, because I think this one, and this one, it's like they're all diagonal to each other for the lives and the grounds. So this one's live, this one's live, this one's live, and this one's live, and the rest are supposed to be grounds, but they're not connected to each other. Only the one pin here, or the one pad down here, this one's grounded properly. This one has continuity to to pin 32. At least it should. At least it should. Yes, there. Beep, beep. Yes. So that has continuity to pad 32. But none of the others that are supposed to are grounded. And I believe that when the pads are not properly grounded, okay, that one is, and that one is not. So that one's grounded. I managed to get this one grounded, because again, right below this particular pad, the second pad in here, this one, right below is the ground plane. Unfortunately, with this one up here on the top left, next to it on the left, I did break away a little bit on the left, and it's not a ground plane. It's the actual live plane that's like right next to it, as I have an intruder with a wet toy. Hey, go get your toy. That would be Ollie intruding. Yeah, so it's a mess, and I have no idea how I'm gonna get this middle ground plane, this this third pad, I have no idea how I'm going to get that connected to the first or the second. I would need to do a diagonal connection there, which is not going to be easy in that amount of space when both pads next to it have their own solder connecting each other. So yeah, that's extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. It will not end well in the slightest, and there's no guarantee that it would actually work if I did it. So yeah, that's that. As for the B button, that was a simple fix, just running from pad 11 up to the via. That fixed that, but I still don't know about starts short with select. However, what I can say is that with it exactly like this, with the board exactly like this, minus the thing on the front on the CPU, which happened at some point and I don't know when. Focus. Focus. Camera, focus. Yes, there we go. At some point before it broke completely, it was able to load, and it treated start and select as being perpetually on. How do I know this? Because I saw that the B button worked, and when I pushed the B button, the thing reset. The game reset. Soft reset. Now, soft reset for Game Boy Color in Pokemon games, at the very least, like Pokemon Yellow, soft reset is start select B, or AB, or something like that. It's start select B will soft reset, and that was working. So I know that start and select were enabled, but it was constantly on. It wasn't off, which is what I think would happen if I had all the grounds connected properly. If the grounds were connected properly, I think that it would work at that point. Or it's just a function of this short on start. Regardless, I am considering this board to be a total loss. I'm gonna clean this up. Focus. Focus. Focus, focus. Come on, focus. There you go. I'm gonna clean this up. Focus. Stay focused. Stay. Stay. There. I'm gonna fix this. Right here. I'm gonna fix this myself off screen. But for now, I will treat this board for parts. This should still be good, at the very least. The case is amazing. I have to test to see if there are actual problems with the screen or not. The screen might be bad, but I can use the case and the buttons and this board. I don't know if the speaker is working or if I managed to break the speaker. It wasn't outputting sound, so in the end, but it was at the beginning, so maybe I broke something else on the board that caused it to stop functioning properly. Who knows? And there's, of course, the card, the reader itself, which seems to be fine. I haven't really gotten a good look at the internals on the reader. I did end up breaking the clip that's supposed to go up here. I did break that clip, unfortunately, but it doesn't need it. It gets soldered in anyway, so that just keeps it in there. It's like going a little bit overkill to have both clips on the side. It's like, really? You're just adding insult to injury at that point. So yeah, that is the state, the quote-unquote final state of this. Things that I could do to it in the future: get a replacement, of course, on this guy, clean that up there, see what would end up happening with start select. If I could get, if I can find the short, please tell me what causes start and select to be shorted, because I have not seen a single place on here. Oh yeah, and in case you hadn't noticed, compared to the beginning, where every single one of these holes, every single via had corrosion in it that was like green. Shades of green were everywhere around all these holes. None of them are supposed to have green. The entire thing is supposed to be pure white. So I went and I poked through every single one of these vias to try to get out the corrosion. So there might be additional vias that aren't working that may need wires to connect the sides. More likely than not, but a lot of these are just ground holes. Don't know why there's even holes in them because they're all just because a lot of them are just grounds. But some may be pretty important and aren't functional at the moment. And yeah, there's just so many of them. It's hard to track down. But yeah, this has taken entire days of my life just to decide. Okay, not going to sell it as it is. Not really worth me spending the time to completely fix. But I at least want it for parts. Oh yeah, there's also the volume slider and the link port and the power light and the IR thing. All these and the power switch. All these are functional items that I can salvage off of this board. I mean, even technically these chips on this side and the crystal and yeah, just so many things on this board I can harvest for other purposes to fix other Game Boy colors. And yeah, even the 3.5mm jack and the DC port, yeah, those all of that can get reused because I'm pretty sure they're all functioning, working, and if I have problems on other boards, I can use all those things, or I could harvest and sell each part individually and like make back a good portion of what I paid for this, if not all of it or more. Who knows? But I'm not going to go through that effort for these individual parts on this board because this one is, frankly, this one's toast. This one's toast. I'm not gonna even try hard to get this completely working again. Um, I have other things coming. I have better uses for my time than continuing to work on this. So, with that, yeah, that's gonna be the very end of this what can I even call it? This saga of the purple Game Boy Color. I hope you have enjoyed my TED Talk of over an hour as we have gone through and thoroughly destroyed this Game Boy Color in an attempt to troubleshoot and fix it. Again, I will say it was broken to begin with, and the specific issues were not repairable. Yes, I know you're on. You want to be turned off. The specific issues were fundamentally not really repairable. I'm sure anyone with half a brain who saw the front, I won't say anyone with half a brain. I will say anyone with experience working on Game Boy Colors / on hardware in general would have taken a look at the front of this, at the buttons, and said nope, and just called it there and not done any of this work. It was important for me to do this work because I've never done it before. So it's, even though I had an inkling from the very start, when as soon as I opened it up and I saw the condition of the pads on the front, I realized, oh, this is going to be a ton of work to try to get to fix, and it's not guaranteed that it will get fixed. And the problems with the screen and all that may mean deeper issues with the board. So it was, unfortunately, going to be a loss. I had the feeling that chances were quite high that this was going to be not completely repairable, but I've never run jumper wires before. I've never done this degree of micro soldering. I have never removed a card reader like this. Like, I have never desoldered these pins with wick. I have wick. I use the wick to desolder this. I have never soldered these through-hole pins before, and I think I did a overall better job. I'm pretty sure that none of these are connected. I know I triple checked on that I didn't have any unfortunate happenings on here. Yeah, they're all isolated. They're all isolated. I did fine. I could just clean it up clean up that that flux from the solder core, because that's one thing this entire time. Doing all of this, there's one thing that I'm missing that's literally in the mail that won't arrive until the weekend, and that is a bespoke source of flux. I have flux pens coming in the mail, and I did this without a source of flux, so yeah. If it looks messy, it's because it was messy, and it was difficult. And I've not done this level of soldering before, and I've not had experience with trying to solder to pads that are literally millimeter scale pads. Like I've not done it, and I needed to do it. And I'm glad I've done it. Even if I wasn't able to completely fix the board, even if I broke this, and even if I've had somehow got stuff up on there, even with all that, I still got experience here. I now know how to better handle a board so that these types of things don't happen in the future on boards that actually stand a chance of getting fixed. So with that, if you have enjoyed this video of over an hour, I would like to thank you all for watching. This has been Otaku Showboat. Please be sure to do all of the social and engagement stuff down below the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and hit the notification bell. Consider becoming a member of the channel by hitting the great big blue join button and supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/otakushowboat if you are so inclined and able. I will ideally be back with a project that will go a bit better. My next project, yeah, I believe the next one, actually is going to be reshelling a Game Boy Advance SP-101, and potentially, fixing a quote-unquote broken, power, like, charging on that. It says it doesn't charge. We'll see what the problem is. If the problem is that it needs a new port, I will need to wait a few days for the ports to arrive. I've got a set of 10 and other various spare parts for Game Boy Advance SP and Game Boy Color. Like, I have a set of speakers coming for Game Boy Color as well. So yeah, just things are in the mail, parts are in the mail, and we can work on that. Of course, I also have another Game Boy Advance SP right next to me. I have this Game Boy Advance SP, which has a broken link cable port, and we will be fixing that link cable port together at some point as well. Once I get a new link cable port, we will do that, and then give this an upgrade. I will definitely be giving this an upgrade. This is a 001. This is going to get a dramatic upgrade, to say the least. But that's where I'm going to end it off for the day today. Again, thank you all for watching. I will see you all on the next one.